Imagine a locker that knows your deepest fears and secrets, one that whispers your name and pulls you into a nightmare you can't escape. Tonight, Emma faces the eerie whispers of Westbrook High's most haunted locker, and what she discovers may trap her in a place where nightmares never end. Welcome back to Nightmare for Giggles, where the shadows of Westbrook High hide more than just dusty old lockers. I am the Tales Keeper, your guide through the twisted corridors of Horror Highschool Nightmare Stories. In tonight's episode, Emma investigates the infamous Whispering Locker, hoping to uncover the truth about her missing friend, Adam. But as she delves deeper, she'll find that some doors should never be opened. Before we begin, remember to put on your headphones, close your eyes, and let the darkness take you. Now, let's see what secrets the Whispering Locker holds. The halls of Westbrook High were eerily quiet, the kind of silence that made every creak and distant footstep echo like thunder. It was late, long after the last bell had rung, and the students had gone home. But for one student, the day wasn't over. Emma had always been curious by nature, the kind of person who couldn't leave a mystery unsolved. So when she started hearing whispers about a locker that knew everyone's deepest secrets, she couldn't resist the urge to investigate. But there was more to her curiosity than mere interest. She had heard something else, something that chilled her to the bone. There were rumors about Adam, the student who had vanished after his encounter with the strange happenings in the library. No one had seen him since, and whispers filled the halls, growing more ominous with each passing day. Some said he was gone for good, others claimed he was trapped somewhere between worlds. But Emma wasn't just curious, she was worried. Adam had been a friend, a confidant, and she couldn't shake the feeling that he was still out there, somewhere, trying to reach out for help. That's when she heard about the locker. Locker number 327 was just an ordinary locker, at least on the surface. It stood at the end of a rarely used hallway on the third floor, its metal door slightly rusted, the paint peeling around the edges. But there was something different about this locker, something that made it stand out among the hundreds of others. Students said that if you stood near it, you could hear whispers, soft, insistent voices that spoke of secrets you'd never told a soul. Some even claimed that the locker could tell you things about yourself that you didn't know, things buried deep in your subconscious. But what really intrigued Emma was the rumor that the locker had started whispering Adam's name. That was enough to make up her mind. She had to find out what was happening, and if there was any chance at all, that Adam was still alive. She had to try to help him. It was late when she arrived at the school. She had waited until after hours, knowing that fewer people would be around to question why she was there. The security guard had fallen asleep in his office, and Emma had slipped in unnoticed, her heart pounding in her chest. The school was unnervingly quiet, the only sound the distant hum of the fluorescent lights overhead. As she walked down the deserted hallways, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched, that something unseen was following her every move. Finally, she reached the third floor. The hallway was dimly lit, the shadows long and dark. She could see the locker at the far end, standing alone in the silence. It looked ordinary enough, just another locker among many. But as Emma approached, she began to hear it, a faint whisper, so soft it was almost inaudible. Her heart raced as she drew closer, the whispering growing louder. It wasn't just one voice. It was a chorus, overlapping and merging, speaking in a language she couldn't understand. She stopped in front of the locker, her breath coming in short, shallow gasps. The whispers were clearer now, forming words that sent a chill down her spine. Emma. She froze. It was her name. The locker was whispering her name. Emma. Help him. The voice was soft, almost pleading. Emma's heart ached with a mixture of fear and hope. Could it be Adam? Was he trying to communicate with her through this strange, haunted locker? She reached out, her hand trembling, and touched the cold metal surface of the locker door. The moment her fingers made contact, the whisper stopped, replaced by a deep, resonant silence that seemed to press in on her from all sides. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, with a sudden, sharp click, The locker door swung open on its own. Emma stepped back, her heart pounding in her chest. The inside of the locker was dark, impossibly dark, as if the light couldn't penetrate the shadows within. She hesitated, every instinct telling her to run, to get as far away from this place as possible. But then she heard it again, faint and distant, as if coming from the depths of the locker. "Emma, help me." It was Adam's voice. She was sure of it. Steeling herself, Emma stepped closer, peering into the darkness of the locker. The shadows seemed to shift and move, as if alive, as if they were reaching out to her. Taking a deep breath, she reached into the locker, her hand disappearing into the darkness. The air inside was cold, unnaturally so, and it sent a shiver down her spine. She felt something brush against her fingers, something soft and cold. She pulled her hand back, holding a small folded piece of paper. Her hands trembled as she unfolded it, revealing a message scrawled in familiar handwriting. "I'm trapped. The locker is the key. Please help me before it's too late. Adam." Emma's breath caught in her throat. It was him. Adam was still alive, or at least he was still out there, somewhere, trying to reach out to her. But what did the message mean? How could a locker be the key to saving him? She looked back at the locker, the darkness inside it seeming to pulse and shift, as if something was waiting for her. Could she really trust what she was seeing? Was Adam really trapped, or was this some kind of cruel trick? Before she could think any further, the locker door slammed shut with a loud clang, making her jump. The whispers returned, louder now, more insistent. "Help him! The key!" Emma's heart raced as she looked around, but the hallway was empty. The voices seemed to be coming from all around her, echoing off the walls, filling her mind with a sense of urgency. She knew she had to do something, but what? The message had said the locker was the key, but how could she unlock whatever was trapping Adam? Her eyes fell on the small combination lock hanging from the locker door. It was old and rusted, the numbers barely visible. But something about it felt wrong, as if it didn't belong, as if it were the only thing keeping the locker's true nature hidden. Emma reached out and touched the lock, her fingers trembling. She could feel the cold metal beneath her skin, the weight of the secrets it held. Without fully understanding why, she began to turn the dial, her movements slow and deliberate. The whispers grew louder, the voices overlapping, urging her on. "Free him! Free him!" The numbers on the dial clicked into place, and with a final, resonant click, the lock snapped open. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a deep, rumbling sound, the locker door swung open once more, revealing a swirling vortex of darkness within. Emma's breath caught in her throat as she stared into the abyss. The darkness was alive, pulsing and shifting, as if it were a doorway to another world. She could feel the pull of the vortex, a cold, insistent force that seemed to beckon her forward. The whispers grew louder, more urgent. "Help him! Save him!" Emma hesitated, fear and doubt warring within her. What if this was a trap? What if stepping into the vortex meant sealing her own fate? But then she thought of Adam, trapped in whatever nightmare lay beyond that darkness, and her fear was replaced by resolve. Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward, the cold air of the vortex swirling around her, pulling her in. The world seemed to blur and twist around her as she was sucked into the darkness, the voices growing louder and more distorted. She felt as though she were falling, tumbling through an endless void, the air rushing past her in a cacophony of sound. And then, just as suddenly, it was over. Emma found herself standing in a strange, desolate place, a landscape of twisted shadows and distorted reality. The ground beneath her feet was cold and solid, but the sky above was a swirling mass of darkness, shot through with streaks of sickly green light. She looked around, her heart pounding in her chest. She was alone, the whispers replaced by an eerie, oppressive silence. "Adam?" she called out, her voice trembling. "Adam, are you here?" For a moment, there was no response. Then, from the shadows, a figure emerged. It was Adam, but not as she remembered him. His face was pale, his eyes sunken, and his clothes were tattered and worn. He looked as though he had been through hell, and maybe he had. Emma, he whispered, his voice weak. You came. Emma rushed to his side, her heart aching at the sight of him. Adam, what happened to you? Where are we? Adam shook his head, his expression haunted. I don't know. I don't know how long I've been here. It's like a nightmare, a place where time doesn't exist. I tried to escape, but every time I thought I found a way out, I was pulled back. He looked up at her, his eyes filled with a desperate hope. But you found me. You can help me get out of here. Emma nodded, though she wasn't sure how she could help. The locker? It's the key, right? How do we use it to get out of here? Adam hesitated, his expression troubled. I think the locker is a doorway, a portal that connects this place to the real world. But it's not just a door, it's a trap. It lures people in, and once they're here, it's almost impossible to leave. Emma's heart sank. Then how do we get out? Adam looked down at the ground, his hands trembling. There's only one way. Someone has to stay behind to keep the door open long enough for the other to escape. Emma's breath caught in her throat. No, there has to be another way. But Adam shook his head. I've tried everything, Emma. I've been here for so long and nothing else works. If we want to escape, one of us has to stay. Emma's mind raced, her heart torn. She couldn't leave Adam behind, not after everything they had been through. But if they didn't do something soon, they might both be trapped here forever. She looked at Adam, her eyes filled with determination. We're going to find another way. There has to be something we haven't tried yet. But even as she said the words, she knew they were futile. The locker was a trap, a prison designed to keep its victims from ever escaping. And the only way out was for one of them to make the ultimate sacrifice. Adam reached out and took her hand, his grip weak but steady. Emma, you have to go. You can't stay here. Please, for me. Tears filled Emma's eyes as she looked at him, her heart breaking. But she knew he was right. If she stayed, they would both be lost. Okay, she whispered, her voice trembling. But I'm going to find a way to get you out of here, I promise. Adam nodded, his expression filled with a mixture of sadness and relief. Thank you, Emma. I'll be waiting. With that, he stepped back into the shadows, his form dissolving into the darkness. The locker door creaked open, the swirling vortex of darkness beckoning her to step through. Emma hesitated for a moment, her heart aching with the knowledge that she was leaving Adam behind. But she knew she had no choice. Taking a deep breath, she stepped through the portal, the darkness closing in around her. The world spun and twisted around her, the air rushing past her in a deafening roar. And then, with a final jarring lurch, she was back in the hallway of Westbrook High, standing in front of the now closed locker. The whispers were gone, the locker silent and still, but Emma knew the truth. Adam was still out there, trapped in that nightmarish world, waiting for her to fulfill her promise. And she would. No matter what it took, she would find a way to bring him back. But for now, the locker remained closed, its dark secrets hidden away, waiting for the next person who dared to unlock its mysteries. You've just witnessed another chilling tale with me, the Tales Keeper, here on Nightmare for Giggles. But remember, the story of the Whispering Locker is far from over. Emma may have escaped, but Adam's fate still hangs in the balance, and the horrors of Westbrook High are only growing darker. If you're ready to uncover more secrets and face the next nightmare, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Until next time, beware of the whispers in the dark. They may be calling for you.